Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are taking quite a trip. We're heading into the psychological maze that is Shutter Island.
Hmm.
And we're not just looking at the twists and turns of the plot. Our mission here is really to dig into it as, well, a powerful story about guilt, identity.
And how the mind can fundamentally rewrite reality to protect itself. Yeah.
Exactly. So our source material really lays it all out, doesn't it? It's less a mystery and more a deep dive into a specific psychological defense.
That's the key perspective. The whole narrative is structured around that. It starts with this compelling mystery, the kind that pulls you right in.
Okay, so let's set that scene. It's 1954.
Hmm.
We arrive on Shutter Island, this bleak, isolated place housing Ashcliffe Hospital for the criminally insane.
Right, and the isolation is palpable. Rocks, rough seas. It's almost a physical representation of a lockdown mind.
And we meet our main players, U.S. Marshal Teddy Daniels and his partner, Chuck Ussel. They seem a bit mismatched.
Deliberately so, perhaps. The setting itself is like a cage, reflecting the mental trap the real person is in.
So their official business, investigating the disappearance of a patient, Rachel Solando.
Yeah, and her case is extreme. She drowned her own children, but lives in this complete denial, acting like they're still alive. Just gone.
But the circumstances of her disappearance are immediately suspicious. Vanished from a cell, locks from the outside.
Right. Impossible.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And our analysis points this out straight away. This isn't setting up an escape mystery.
No, it's setting up a delusion. It forces Teddy, and you as the viewer, to doubt the system running the island, not necessarily the patient herself.
So it immediately feeds into any pre-existing suspicions he might have.
Precisely. It validates the idea of conspiracy he seems to already be carrying with him, even before things get really strange. It primes him.
Okay, let's talk about Teddy himself. He's clearly carrying some heavy emotional baggage from the get-go. Our sources flag this as crucial foreshadowing.
Oh, absolutely. He's not stable. We see that instability, the trauma, almost immediately. It's not just background detail. It's like the engine driving his persona.
What kind of trauma are we talking about?
Well, there are layers. First, there's the severe WWII trauma. He talks about liberating Dachau, nightmares, witnessing horrors on an industrial scale. That experience with institutionalized violence is significant.
And then there's the personal tragedy. His wife, Dolores.
Died in a fire. He believes it was arson, set by a specific man. This loss is intensely personal and painful.
So how do those two things, the war trauma and the loss of his wife, combine?
The sources suggest the war trauma gives him this framework, right? The tough guy, the marshal who can handle monsters and dispense justice. But the loss of Dolores, that's the immediate trigger. The truth about her death is apparently so unbearable that his mind creates Teddy Daniels to cope.
Creates a hero to replace the victim, or worse.
Something like that. A whole new identity to mask the unbearable reality.
And this fuels his secret mission on the island. It's not just about Rachel Solando.
No, not for Teddy. His dreams, those vivid images of Dolores. She tells him, Andrew Latus is here.
Latus, the man he believes, set the fire.
Right, so that's Teddy's real target. Finding Latus and getting revenge, that's his internal driver, his obsession.
So Andrew Latus, that name holds the key. Teddy is hunting the name, but it's actually...
It's the name that represents the truth he can't face. Andrew Latus is the identity he's buried. By making Latus the villain outside himself, Teddy, the marshal, has a purpose. The whole setup on the island is designed to make those two collide.
Okay, so the official investigation starts, but it immediately feels off. The doctors, Dr. Cawley especially, they're polite, but very guarded.
Evasive, yeah. And then, just as Teddy starts digging, Rachel Solando is suddenly found, as if nothing happened.
And the whole disappearance is just waved away, brushed under the carpet.
Which, naturally, ramps up Teddy's suspicion massively. His defense mechanisms go into overdrive. Now he's convinced they're lying.
And his paranoia escalates quickly. He starts believing they're drugging him through the food, the cigarettes.
That the whole institution is a front. He becomes certain they're performing illegal experiments, maybe lobotomies, probably in that ominous lighthouse.
He's seeing conspiracy everywhere, and he's actively looking for proof to confirm it.
And then the storm hits. A massive hurricane cuts off the island completely.
Which is almost too perfect, right? A physical storm mirroring his internal chaos.
Exactly. Power fails, security systems go down, dangerous patients might be loose. It's maximum chaos.
And in the middle of it all, Teddy and Chuck get separated.
Which, for Teddy, confirms his worst fear. Chuck's been taken, he's part of the conspiracy or a victim of it.
And he finds that clue. The note.
Ah, yes. The law of four, who is 67?
That's the kicker. The hospital officially has 66 patients. So who is this mysterious patient 67?
It feeds directly into his narrative. Proof of a cover-up. Patient 67 must be the key to unlocking the whole thing.
But hang on, let's pause here. If the staff, like Dr. Colley, know he's Andrew Latis, why this elaborate, incredibly dangerous roleplay? Why let him have a gun, investigate freely? Isn't that a huge risk?
It's a massive risk. Our sources emphasize this was a radical, last-ditch effort by Dr. Colley. Andrew was deeply unwell, potentially violent, often catatonic. This complex role play was their final attempt to break through his delusion before resorting to, well, more drastic measures.
Like lobotomy.
Exactly. They were betting on the power of his own created narrative, his need to solve the case as Teddy, to eventually lead him to the truth without him becoming uncontrollably violent. It's about using his own confabulation, the brain's tendency to invent memories, to fill gaps against itself.
Guiding the invented story towards the real one.
Right. They hoped his subconscious safeguards, his hero persona, would keep him somewhat contained. A huge gamble.
And this idea of confabulation, it really clicks when he finds that woman hiding in the cave.
Oh, yeah. She claims to be the real Rachel Solando.
And she tells him everything Teddy wants to hear. The doctors experiment on people. They label anyone who questions them as insane.
She validates his entire paranoid worldview, perfect confirmation from his perspective. It drives him straight towards the final confrontation.
The lighthouse.
The lighthouse. The supposed center of the conspiracy. He fights his way there, expecting to find torture labs, evidence of horrific experiments.
But instead,
he finds Dr. Colley, just sitting there, calmly waiting for him. The experiment is reaching its climax.
and this is it, the big reveal. Everything gets flipped on its head.
Utterly. Colley lays out the facts, shattering the reality Teddy and the audience has been living in.
Fact 1. Teddy Daniels isn't real.
He's a construct. Fact 2. His real name is Andrew Latis.
And Andrew Latis is patient number 67.
He's been a patient at Ashcliff for 2 whole years. The man he was hunting.
Was himself. The marshal was the patient. The irony is just crushing.
And then comes the full, awful truth behind the delusion, the real tragedy.
His wife, Dolores. What really happened?
Dolores, whose full name, Dolores Chanel, is an anagram for Rachel Solando. She suffered from severe mental illness, manic depression, likely postpartum psychosis.
And
In a state of delusion, she drowned their 3 children in the lake behind their house. Andrew came home, found them, the devastation, the rage. It broke him. In that moment, he shot Dolores, killed her.
so the fire story,
Mm-hmm.
the arsonist Latis.
All fabricated. A way to displace his own unbearable guilt and actions onto a fictional villain. Teddy Daniels, the hero marshal, is an anagram of Andrew Latis, the killer. His entire reality was built from these anagrams, these defenses.
Wow. Every single piece was designed by his own mind to protect him from that truth.
Exactly. And Chuck Audley, his partner.
Dr. Sheehan, his
Yeah.
primary psychiatrist.
Right. The whole investigation, the storm, the clues, Rachel Solando, it was all an incredibly elaborate, orchestrated piece of psychodrama, a therapy session on a grand scale.
Designed to force Andrew to confront what he did.
And in the lighthouse, faced with Colley and Sheehan, it finally works. The walls come down. He remembers. Andrew Latis emerges.
And the grief, the guilt just overwhelms him. He breaks down.
It's an incredibly raw, painful moment of clarity, but it's not the end.
No. Because what happens next morning is, in many ways, the core message of the whole story.
Absolutely. The aftermath defines everything. Andrew's sitting outside with Dr. Sheehan.
Chuck. And he just
Mm-hmm.
reverts, calls him Chuck again, talks about Teddy, about ladies, letting none of the revelation happen.
Total relapse, seemingly. You see the disappointment on the doctor's faces. 2 years of work, this massive intervention, apparently for nothing.
But then he asks Sheehan that question.
Yeah.
The line that changes everything.
Which would be worse, to live as a monster or to die as a good man?
Chilling. Because it implies.
It implies he remembers. He's lucid. He knows exactly who he is and what he did. He's not simply relapsing into delusion.
He's making a choice.
A conscious, deliberate choice.
Yeah.
He understands the truth, that he's Andrew Latis, the man who killed his wife after she killed their children, and living with that knowledge, that monstrous guilt. It's unbearable.
So he's pretending. He's choosing to act like Teddy Daniels again.
Yes. He's choosing the delusion because the reality is too painful. It's an act of existential self-preservation, maybe? Choosing the peaceful lie, as the source material puts it.
And his final action confirms this choice. He walks towards the orderlies, towards the lobotomy.
Willingly. He chooses to die as a good man, the fabricated hero, Teddy Daniels, whose mind will be silenced rather than live as a monster. Andrew Laeddis, burdened by the truth, oblivion over agony.
So the film isn't just about madness, is it? It's about the crushing weight of guilt.
And the extreme lengths the mind, even consciously, will go to escape that weight. He wasn't technically insane anymore in that final moment. He was making a rational, albeit devastating choice to erase himself, trading sanity for peace.
Wow, what a journey. From U.S. Marshal Teddy Daniels investigating a disappearance to Andrew Laeddis, patient 67, choosing oblivion. It really shows how profoundly trauma can fracture our sense of self.
And how we might even deliberately reshape that self, rewrite our own reality when the truth is just too devastating to live with.
Which brings us to that final thought for you, our listener, to maybe chew on after this. Andrew achieved clarity, but he chose the peaceful lie instead. So, when does that kind of self-deception stop being just a defense mechanism, something unconscious, and become, well, a conscious choice, a chosen way to live?
And maybe what are the implications, not just for an individual, but maybe even societally, when we choose that silent mind over confronting a difficult or unbearable truth? Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. Join us next time on The Deep Dive.